How's it going, Yankee fans? My name is Alex with my co-host here, Ryan Garcia. And today we want to discuss Oswald Peraza, IKF, the injury he suffered yesterday, and how they really dodged a bullet there in the upcoming date on August 18th that will allow the Yankees to bring up Peraza without accruing any service time. So there's a couple of different variables at play here. Wanted to give you guys the latest update and some news and hopefully some good takeaways from this debate. And we'll discuss IKF, his numbers, the analytics, the contradicting kind of nature of general manager Brian Cashman right now, where he's like kind of nitpicking certain players. Like, it's kind of weird, right? Because like IKF, the numbers say he's not that good, right? These numbers say he's not really a good defender, but general manager Brian Cashman just went on the radio a couple of days ago and was basically like, IKF is a good defender. He's a Gold Glove and everyone's like, wait a second, like the numbers don't support that. It seems like they focus in on analytics for some players, then just completely go by the gut with other players. They don't really understand what is going on right now. You can't have it both ways, right? You can't just like disregard analytics for one player and then use it entirely for another player and strategy. You got to just kind of commit to the thing that you put together. And I kind of get the sense that general manager Brian Cashman is trying to save face right now after that IKF trade. And obviously they tried to unload Josh Donaldson and Aaron Hicks at the deadline, showing that they definitely are trying to get rid of some of the pieces that, Cashman thought would be more impactful this year. I want to hear your thoughts about this. It's definitely an interesting debate. We'll talk about Peraza, what he's been doing the last couple of months here. Guys on an absolute tear. Before we dive into that, Ryan, how you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing all right. The Yankees are in a kind of a weird spot here where you're closing in on a deadline where if the Yankees keep Peraza down and they call him up after, I believe it's August 19th or 20th, the Yankees are going to keep an extra year of service time on Peraza. And if you've waited this long, you were on August 8th, you got 12 days basically to wait it out. And the Yankees aren't going to do it 12 days before the deadline. We know how they operate. We know how they are with service time. They've famously kept in 2018, they kept Glaber and Andujar down until they could manipulate their service time. The Yankees are going to manipulate service time whenever they can, despite the best efforts from the Major League Baseball Players Association. They were not able to get rid of a lot of these loopholes teams have to manipulate service time. And so for Oswald Peraza, yes, he could help the Yankees right now. Yes, the Yankees need a spark, but because the Yankees value service time so much, they're not going to go ahead and make that move right now, which is extremely frustrating, knowing that this team is played at an extremely frustrating level right now. They're losing games they shouldn't lose. You feel like they're one, spark plug away from going on a tear and kind of, getting them out of their rut. I mean, they lost how many games by 1 or 2 runs in this stretch? We've talked about it before where this team isn't losing big. That's what bad teams do. They just get blown out day in and day out. This is really just an example of the Yankees need that spark, and IKF can't provide that, right? He's not a dynamic hitter. Yes, he puts the ball in play a lot, but if you wanted a dynamic contact guy, you want a guy who's going to, hit 300, get on base a lot, and be a guy who leads the league in stolen bases like that. That's what you want from a dynamic guy. And IKF just isn't dynamic. He is what they expected him to be offensively. I get on him offensively, but I'm not shocked he's what he is at the plate. What I'm shocked with is the defensive deficiencies, the throwing errors, the seeming, it's like yips almost, right? Rizzo bails him from so many piss poor throws across the diamond that it's kind of frustrating to watch a guy who's a glove first guy. You can't trust him with his arm. You can't trust him to make big throws. And that's kind of another part of the dynamic aspect of being, a glove first guy. You would trust Peraza to kind of sling it across the infield. There's a play at the plate, kind of sling it towards home plate. We saw this, I believe it was against either the Mariners. Yes, it was against the Mariners where there's a ground ball to IKF. He has a play at the plate, doesn't go home with it because he doesn't have the arm to go home with it. He's going to throw that ball away. There's no confidence in him to make that play. Whereas we've seen with Trevino, he's a glove first guy, and I know he's hit a little bit, but we've seen him just go trigger happy and gun it to third or first whenever and be a playmaker. We've seen even guys like Aaron Hicks. Aaron Hicks's arm is not what it was a couple years ago, but when he lets it fly, the plays are made, right? The Yankees have kind of, and even pushing the envelope defensively, guys like Judge holding runners to not holding runners from tagging up, right? We've seen it with Glaber where he and DJ where they'll just flash the leather and they'll be dynamic playmakers. IKF doesn't provide that for you. He has great range, but he can't finish off some of these great spectacular plays or elevate the defensive the capability of this infield, because you can't trust him to get, with the ball in his hands, to get a little trigger happy and start, making those crazy plays that you expect from a glove first guy. He's not providing that spark for the Yankees. He's not doing the job he should, which is to be a glove first guy. There are a lot of writers out there talking about how, well, Peraz isn't ready. Peraz isn't ready. The Yankees know he's not ready. That's not the reality of it. The Yankees just want to manipulate Peraz's service time. We all know that, right? We're not dumb anymore. This isn't 1995 where the only information we have available is batting average and RBIs. We can look at defensive data for players at the major league level. Hell, we figured out ways to look at defensive data for minor league players. We have tons of data on a lot of guys. And the numbers point to, IKF can't play his position nearly as well as you would imagine a glove first guy can play it. -2 outs above average, OPS under 700. That's not a winning formula at shortstop. And it's really up to the Yankees to, after that deadline, show that their priority is winning and call up Peraza.
Yeah, I mean, look, the 10 days that are left here before this date that allows them to get Peraza up to the majors, it makes sense, right? They don't want to give away that extra because, and here's the perspective, right? They're thinking a little bit more long term about this, and in my opinion, they still have a 9-game lead, whatever, in the AL East. They will win a game in the next couple of days. I hope, please God, let them win some games. But at the end of the day, they want to use Peraza probably as a trade piece in the winter too. They want to float him. They want to see what they can get for him, right? He's having an unbelievable last couple months in AAA. It took him a couple weeks to get started. Right now, he's sitting at 258 average with a 33% on base rate, 15 homers, and 42 RBIs. But June, holy hell, the guy hit 303 with a 38% on base rate, 4 homers, and 9 RBIs. In July, hit 300 with a 37% on base rate, 5 homers and 15 RBIs and 9 stolen bases. In August, he's already starting off with similar numbers. He's absolutely crushing in Scranton. And with that type of production, there's a lot left to be desired at the major league level, right? If you bring him up to the majors and he struggles, suddenly teams are like, oh my God, can he actually do it? Can he replicate that at the major league level? Can he hit well? Then there's question marks, but if he's doing it now, teams may look at him and say, this guy could be something special. This guy could come out for us and be dominant as our starting shortstop for the foreseeable future. So I get having that extra year of service time gives you that cushion because you can pull him up and you're like, it doesn't matter if he struggles a little bit because you still got the extra year, you still got the extra time. So it's a little bit less of dampening than it would be if you struggle now and you lose that service time. So I get that mentality. In my opinion, the perfect infield looks like Anthony Rizzo at first base, Glaber at second, Oswald at shortstop, and DJ LeMahieu at third base. Josh Donaldson cannot be on this roster anymore. He cannot be offensively impacting this team because he doesn't impact this team offensively. He's been very good defensive this year, arguably Gold Glove at third base. But, DJ LeMahieu is also a phenomenal third baseman. He can do it all. He can be your guy there. You use Josh Donaldson and use IKF as bench pieces. Use IKF as your new utility guy. You can play him at third. You can play him at shortstop. If Rizzo's having back spasms like he's been having, you just kind of use DJ at first base and you put IKF at third or Donaldson at third, whoever maybe the matchup, prefers. But, that injury to Peraz I mentioned before, he was hit in the hand, right? He was holding the bat, gets hit like right here on the hand, like right about there. And he's obviously in pain. And Connor Foley of, the Scranton, I guess the Rail Riders beat writer there, the Scranton Times Tribune, said that the x-rays came back negative, no broken bones. So Peraz is fine. Now the Yankees need to be extra careful right now because if he gets hurt and they don't have the chance to call him up, you're kind of in a tough spot. So I imagine he's probably going to miss a couple days here, just making sure that hand is fully healthy. He might be a little bit bruised after taking that ball right off the pinky in between his wrist and hand. So, looking at him right now, do you think they actually will call him up? Because right now we're just kind of speculating that they should, and maybe that's why, but what do you think the probability actually is?
Honestly, I would say it's, I don't know. I would be remiss to say something like 50-50, but remember, like, if they already are not going to call him up, then it's a 0% chance, right? I think we kind of know that percentage when we get past August 19th. If he's not called up within, on August 19th, the 20th or the 21st, if there are no plans to do that, then he's not he's not going to get up at any point during the season, even with the expanded rosters. In September, if they do expand the rosters, I think you'll see a catcher called up. I believe, you could see Rourke get called up just because you want to have some breaks for Trevino, who's going to be asked to start every game in October. And that is really, really tough on a catcher. And so I imagine the Yankees want to give him a little bit of a break there. But has Peraza earned it? Absolutely, right? As you mentioned, he's been phenomenal in June and July and August. He hits a bunch of home runs. He steals a ton of bases. He's the example of a dynamic playmaker. There are some plays he's made in Scranton where he's making his own throwing decisions and using his athleticism and his great arm to make phenomenal plays. And that's something IKF doesn't provide for you, where it is, again, being dynamic, being a playmaker for this team. That spark plug, if you could just imagine right now, Peraz is red hot, right? If he kind of continues that red hot streak, if he loses, I say this as a joke, the purple patch, it's like a video game reference. If he has his little purple patch and he's ridiculous in the first month and a half of his career, and kind of slumps in next year when he get in a sophomore slump kind of situation, you have Volpe ready in the wings, right? If Peraz is going to have his hot stretch as a rookie and it's in August, September, and October, you just got all your value for Oswald Peraza. You could be happy with him never providing a single ounce of value again after that. The Yankees need the shortstop upgrade, right? We got Bader to upgrade from Hicks. We got Benintendi to upgrade from Hicks. We got Carpenter might not even start in October. Glaber might not start in October, depending on how things shake up. If those guys don't have secure job security come October, why does IKF have job security at that level? You know what I'm saying? Like Hicks not starting in October. He might not even make the playoff roster. Josh Donaldson might not even make the playoff roster. Gleyber Torres might not start. Matt Carpenter might not start, right? These are players that, I'm not saying all of them have played necessarily great, but have they all outperformed IKF in wins above replacement, in OPS plus, in even defensive metrics? Yeah. And they're not going to start in October. At least 2 or 3 of those guys you just mentioned are not starting in October. So we need to keep the job consistency. If you don't play at a certain level and there's someone outplaying you, you don't get to start in October. That's kind of how things go. Oswald Peraza is giving you some upside, right? If you look at median outcomes, every player, however they perform in a season, you're rolling the dice on outcomes, right? His median outcome, his absolute, middle outcome, average, what's expected from both of them, Peraza is completely outplaying IKF. And Peraza percentile, this is a guy who could be a 105, 110 OPS plus guy, steal 30 bags in a season, and play Gold Glove defense.
Yeah, man. Look, I think it's time. I think it's time we at least bring in some competition, even if it's for a day or two, just to give him some reps to see what he's got. If he's got that bat at the major league level against a lesser opponent, I don't see the harm. This team needs a spark right now. We're on a 5-game losing streak. I'm worried. I'm not really worried, but I am concerned about a few individual players. And I think that it's time that we give somebody a chance to provide a spark to this team, some young blood. It just seems like they need something here. They need something to rejuvenate and provide a catalyst moving forward. So, guys, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on Oswald Peraza. Do you think the Yankees should give him a chance? Do you think that IKF should just remain the shortstop? They should keep things the same? Or, they need to shift things up, change things up, give him an opportunity after that August 18th date where they can kind of, not accrue any service time. So, interesting kind of debate, discussion here. Would love to hear your thoughts below in the YouTube comments as always. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.